Okay, today's workshop is about writing books. So we're going to talk about the strategy for writing books. Over the last 10, 15 years, I've written 6 or 7 books. There's quite a few in the series. I've done that while growing a group of companies to 8 companies. I've also done that while having 3 little kids, at one point 3 kids under 5. Some of you know what that's like. That's plenty of fun right there. But I've been able to write books. Books have been a huge part of developing my businesses and being able to have a lot of opportunity flow. So I want to talk you through my strategy as to how I write books. How do I structure my books? How do I make it super easy to write books? So I'm going to take you through all of that today, take you through the framework. If I've not met you before, I'm Daniel Priestley. The 4 main books that I'm known for is called the Entrepreneur Journey series. It's like the Harry Potter books of entrepreneurship. There's Entrepreneur Revolution, Key Person of Influence, Oversubscribed, and 24 Assets. Kind of takes you through a bit of a journey there. I'm also the co-founder of this business here called Book Magic.ai. It's an AI-enabled SaaS platform that doubles your speed of output when it comes to writing a book. One of the things that's been absolutely wild is to just see people writing their book with bookmagic.ai. A couple of things that I will say. Our AI doesn't write the book for you. It structures your thinking. It helps to support the writing process. It helps to turn your ideas into the structure of a book and to give you things like chapters and analogies and research, and to keep you consistent with your tone of voice and help you with editing and creativity. So it's designed to bring more out of you as opposed to replace you, right? It's designed to be a support process. If you were a professional author, you'd probably have a creative editor. You'd probably have someone who's helping with marketing. You'd have someone who's just helping with the edit of the book. All of this is very much something we can do with AI. So we're not replacing you as the author. We're just enhancing you by giving you support. What we're seeing with bookmagic.ai is people are writing their books twice as fast as they otherwise would. So we're seeing people join the platform, in some cases, 50,000 words in 2 to 3 weeks. Like, it's absolutely wild, some of the case studies that we're seeing. Over the last 10 years, I've been one of the owners of Rethink Press, which is a publishing company. So we know exactly how long it takes for people to write books, and it takes people many months to write books. When we have not seen the level of speed of writing books like this before. So this bookmagic.ai tool is just like doubling the output of anyone who uses it, which is wonderful to see. So let's get into the book writing workshop. I want to take you back in time. 2006, I arrived in London and I knew nobody above the equator. I arrived with a suitcase and a credit card, and I had to basically build my network from scratch. So I joined a private members club called Home House. This is a picture of a Home House here. It looks very British Empire. So it looks like that up here. And then I would sit here and I would have lots of meetings with people as I built my network. And when you're in a private members club and you're meeting someone for the first time, you do the same thing, which is you have a cup of tea or a coffee and you tell your story and they tell their story, and you kind of get to know each other as a first meeting. I was doing dozens of these every single week because I was trying to build my network while I was building my business, and I enjoyed doing that. But then something strange happened. I met with this guy called Andy Lapata. He arrived and he said, "Here's my book." And he gives me a copy of his book. His book was called And Death Came Third, which is a funny name for a book, but it's a book about people's fear of public speaking. And apparently public speaking was the higher thing to be afraid of than death. So most people would, yeah, anyway, silly, funny book. But I remember the book. And I get talking to Andy, and then on the tube ride home, I start reading the book, and I think to myself, oh, we've got to have this guy speak at our conferences. I know someone else who I think he should speak with, right? Because he gave me the book, I realized that like I completely viewed him in a different way. And mentally at that moment, I went, I need to have a book. I need to get a book out because this is amazing. This is awesome. This would speed things along for me. So I had a few little epiphanies. The epiphanies that I had is that when I buy 2 cups of tea or 2 cups of coffee in a private members club, it costs about £8. So if I'm going to take you out for a cup of coffee at a private members club, I'm going to spend £8 and we're going to tell each other our stories. And I thought to myself, for £8, I could just send you a book and you can read my story whenever you're interested, whenever it strikes you, right? It'd be less than £8. So I suddenly realized I could probably meet way more people if I met them through book form as opposed to meeting them face to face. So I wrote my first book, Key Person of Influence, and I didn't write it with the intention of selling copies. I wrote it with the intention of giving away copies. And one of the first things we did is we started sponsoring events where everyone got a copy of the book and I gave a talk on stage. And very rapidly, that business just took off. We start sponsoring events with books. We start giving away a couple of 100 books a month. And then the business just ramps up. So that business, even today, is a multi-million-dollar business that grows 10% month on month, quarter on quarter. So it grows 10% every single quarter at the moment. I don't run it. It's got a team that runs that business. It's a global business. And at the core of that business, 14 years later, the whole business basically works like this. We give away books, Key Person of Influence books. We give them away at different places where entrepreneurs are. We give out the book. Inside the book, it says, take the scorecard. People read the book, they take the scorecard, then they talk to my team and they sign up and work with my team. And it's absolutely wild. This business is like a global business, very scalable. So that was one of the very first times that I noticed that would work. And I've since done this with all the different businesses that I'm involved in. We have books that basically go out there and do the job of a salesperson or a business development manager. So I really recommend this as a strategy. In fact, when I'm talking about books today, I'm really talking to you about these types of books, these thought leadership books that are there to spread your message. So if you've got it in your mind that you want to write a book about like your memoir, or you've got a particular book about a political topic that you're passionate about, that's not what this workshop is about. This workshop is about a book that builds your business, a book that does the job of a business development manager or a salesperson, a book that allows you to scale in multiple ways. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Here's why it works. Human brains don't know the difference between digital and analog. So when we sit down and we say, I want to get to know you, like you, and trust you, the research from Robin Dunbar says that pretty much things like digital media or social media or reading books, pretty much all of that stuff counts towards the 7 hours that it takes your brain to feel like you're a friend. So Robin Dunbar said that when you spend 7 hours with someone, you feel friendly towards them, you feel acquainted towards them. So for example, some of you have been on multiple workshops with me today. Right? Give me a wave if you've been on more than one workshop with me today, right? My true fans, my true believers, right? Some of you have been on multiple workshops with me today. It's probably starting to feel like 7 hours with Daniel Priestley, and your brain is starting to go, oh yeah, I know this guy. I get to know him, I like him and trust him. So the truth is that happens with books and it happens with media. So if someone reads your book, they feel connected to you. They feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. So it's a really powerful way to do that. Richard Branson has written 13 books. And one of the things that he says about books is that he wants to have a relationship with millions of people around the world. He can't physically meet millions of people around the world, so he releases books as a way of building that relationship. He said that he also wants to build a high-performance team culture of loyal, raving fans who love working at Virgin, and the books are a huge part of building culture. So when people join Virgin, they get a copy of Richard Branson's books, and that helps them to become part of the Virgin Way, right? He actually wrote a book called The Virgin Way, and the Virgin Way is the culture of Virgin. So what they discovered is that any employee that reads those books is way more committed to the brand than any other employee. So customers, employees, investors, joint ventures and partnerships, all of that can come to you through having a book out there. So the fastest way to create a breakthrough in your business is to become recognized as a key person of influence. And the fastest way to be recognized as a key person of influence is to have a book out. Here's a favorite sentence of mine. The book that changes your life is not one you read. The book that changes your life is one that you write. So there is nothing quite like being an author. If you want to change your life, write a book, because as soon as you write that book, as soon as it's published, forever and ever and ever, you're an author. You are an author at that point, right? No one can ever take that away from you. No matter what happens after that point, you will have always become an author. You will be an author at that point. People who put you on podcasts, they're going to say, oh, this is Troy. He's the author of the book, blah, blah, blah. This is Daniel. He's the author of this book, right? This is Joe. He's the author of Book Builder, right? So it gives you that authority, the word author and authority, right? So straight away puts you into that. So it changes your life in many, many different ways. By the way, a life-changing thing that happened for me this year was going on Diary of a CEO and 2.5 million people watching it, and like 15,000 people getting in touch with our office and all this sort of stuff. It was a huge life-changing experience. It happened because of the book. So Stephen and his team saw the book, and that's how that happened. So books lead to these life-changing experiences as well. Now, the trick to this is that you're not going to sell the book. You're not going to sell the book. Books are lousy products. They're not very good at being something that you sell. They're things for giving away. Books are relationship builders. They're not products to sell. They're not money makers. They're relationship makers. So here's the strategy. The strategy is, if you write a book, the purpose of writing the book is to give away 1,000 copies per year. Every year, you're going to give away 1,000 copies. I want you to have that at the forefront of your mind. I want you to be thinking about this when you're writing your book, that you're going to be writing this book to give away 1,000 copies per year. Every single year for the next 10 years, you're going to give away at least 1,000 copies. Now, if you write a book with that intention, you're going to write a book that's going to build your business, because you know that you're not trying to sell the thing. You know that you're building a book that's going to go out there and tell a story and engage people and get them to engage with you and engage with your business. So you're going to write a book that you're going to be confidently giving away 1,000 copies. That one thing is going to totally transform your life. In the same way that if you went out and met 1,000 interesting people per year, if I set you a challenge, let's say you had all the time in the world, and I said, I'm setting you a challenge to go and have 1,000 new meetings with people every year. Go and meet with 1,000 people, have a cup of coffee with them every single year. That would change your life. And in the same way, giving away 1,000 books will change your life, but you can actually do that. You can't meet with 1,000 new people every year. So we're going to give away 1,000 copies of the book. And rather than the book being seen as something you supply, it's there to generate demand. That's its job. So a great example would be Investable Entrepreneur by James Church. James runs Robot Mascot. Robot Mascot is a great consultancy that helps people to build business plans that get investment. And he has 600% growth his business, 6x his business, just by giving away books. This is Gabriella Rosa. She has given away 4,000 books. This is her standing on top of 4,000 books, and it generated $4 million for her fertility clinic. So when she gave away 1,000 books, it generated $1 million. She gave away 2,000 books, it generated $2 million. 4,000 books generated $4 million, right? So you can see the pattern here. Every time she gives away 1,000 books, generates $1 million worth of new business. I'll give you a big example. Scorecard marketing. So I wrote Scorecard marketing, and then we started sponsoring events and giving everyone a copy of Scorecard marketing. And we didn't do 1,000 books. We set ourselves a challenge to give away 10,000 of these within 3 months. Right? Now it costs £50,000. So what's that? $70,000 to give away 10,000 books, all costs included. To give away 10,000 books cost about 70 grand to do it in 3 months. Guess what the result was? £50,000 a month worth of recurring revenue through our software business, through SaaS platform. So as a result of giving away those books, those 10,000 books, we ended up getting a 12x return at least in our first 12 months. Can you imagine buying a house for £50,000 and the rental on that house is £50,000 per month? Wouldn't you like to buy that house? That's kind of like what we did, right? I built this book, took a few weeks, took 2.5 weeks to write this book. Call it 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks to write the book, got it published, printed 10,000 copies, gave away the 10,000 copies. And then from those 10,000 copies, we can track that it generated the entire campaign revenue per month off the back of it, right? So a 12x return. If you've got a software business, this is going to blow your business up. If you've got an agency, this will blow you up. If you're a coach or a consultant, this will blow you up. If you're an education and training business, absolutely blow you up. The only type of thing it doesn't really work with is like knickknacks or products or cheap stuff. So like if you sell these, you're like, what the hell is that, Daniel? It attaches your phone to your windscreen, right? You're not going to write a book about something like that, right? Obviously. But anything where you're selling B2B services or coaching, consulting, education, training, software, agency work, any of that sort of stuff, a book is going to be transformational for you. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you my methodology, but I want to give you a quick little two warnings before I show you my methodology for how I write these books. Warning number one is that a book is a hot coal. It's not lighter fluid. Lighter fluid is a good way to start something, but it's not a good way to keep things hot for a long period of time. And a hot coal is slow to heat up, but it stays hot for a long period of time. So let's say you've got a brand new business and you really, really urgently need to turn on the customers. A book is not a great way to do that from starting from scratch, because it takes months to get the project done, and then months to give away the book, and months to then for the money to come back. So it's a bit of a slow burn. It's like a 6 to 9 month thing. If you need customers this month, don't be writing a book, right? Go out there and network with people, post on LinkedIn every day, do stuff that's fast, lighter fluid. Problem with like LinkedIn is great. You post a good post on LinkedIn and it generates hundreds of views in that day, but a week from now, no one can remember it. So it's lighter fluid. But a book, I wrote the book Key Person of Influence in 2010, 14 years later. So a 29-year-old kid wrote that book and a 43-year-old man is still making millions off it, right? How ridiculous is that? 14 years later, thank you, 29-year-old me. I appreciate you, right? Thanks for sending me that little package into the future. So, like, you know, it just keeps going and going and going. So that's warning number one. Warning number one is you want to have some basics in place. You want to know what's the concept of your business, who is your target audience, what is the offer that you sell and make money, how are you okay at selling it? You want to have those 4 things in place first. Once you've got those in place, then you write a book, which is going to be the hot coals that keeps that business warm for a long period of time. Second thing, warning number 2, do not create garlic bread. Don't create garlic bread, please. Imagine this. Imagine you go to a restaurant and you sit down at the restaurant and the waiter comes by and says, have a look at the menu. While you're having a look at the menu, here is a ginormous garlic bread for you to enjoy while you look at the menu. So you're sitting there with your friend, eating the garlic bread, looking at the menu. The waiter comes back 5 minutes later and says, what would you like to order? And you say, oh, I'm so sorry, we're not hungry anymore. We don't want to order anything. The waiter says, you are disgusting. I gave you a massive, delicious garlic bread, and now you're not even ordering anything. That's terrible. I say, wait a second, you filled me up. I was hungry, but I'm not hungry anymore. So your book should not be garlic bread. Your book should not leave people going, oh, I'm full. Your book should leave people saying, I'm hungry for more. So when I read your book, it's not going to make me go, I don't need you anymore. It's going to make me go, oh my goodness, I've found the person I've been looking for. So it's not going to be garlic bread. It's going to be hunger inducing. It's going to be the menu, not the garlic bread. So the way this works is that we're going to create something called a special type of book called a thought leadership book. A thought leadership book leaves people wanting more. It leaves them wanting to work with you. If you read Start With Why by Simon Sinek, you're going to go, oh, wow, Simon Sinek is so smart. I need to bring him into my company to change our company culture, right? If you're a big corporate. Or we need to book him as a speaker now that we know, right? Because we want to bring things through. If you read the book Lean Startup, you're going to go, oh, Eric Ries, we need to start working with Eric Ries, right? So the book is going to leave you wanting more from the author, not wanting less because you're now full. So that's one of the key things to keep in mind. So the type of book that does that is called a thought leadership book. The thought leadership book, it does not tell them how to do what you do. It tells them what? It tells them why they should want to do what you do. Sorry, my slides were all messed up. So your book does not tell them how to do what you do. It sells them why they should want what you do. That makes more sense. Thought leadership, why to do it, who's done it before, what doesn't work, principles that do work, what next, all of that sort of stuff. So Book Magic is designed for creating thought leadership books. That's what this is all about. Book Magic is going to guide you towards the thought leadership book. Okay, let's get into some of the good stuff. I'm going to take you through my blueprint for writing books. This is the blueprint that has allowed me to write all these different books while having little kids, 3 kids under 4, while having 8 different businesses and 100+ employees, all of that sort of stuff, right? This is the blueprint that's been able to do this. Okay, so let's get into the blueprint. So the blueprint is we start with our perfect reader and something called a control question. So the perfect reader is the type of customer you want to clone. So what you want to do is you want to think of your favorite customer and what were they like on day 1 before that you started working with them, right? When you first met them, and you want to write down their name and think about what was it about them, right? So this was Tracy. I was working with Tracy while I was writing my book, Key Person of Influence. So it made it easy. Tracy was one of our favorite clients at the time. So she's a founder and CEO. She's got 15 years experience. She's been in the services industry, B2B services. She employs 5 people, does $500,000, biased towards taking action, comfortable with sales. So these were all the types of things about Tracy when we first started working with her. And then I asked the question, what are Tracy's questions? What are the benefits of standing out? How much experience do I need? Should I promote me or should I promote my business? How do I get booked as a paid speaker? How can I avoid selling more time for money? How can I get ultra high paying clients? How can I get on TV, radio? How can I partner with big brands? I boiled all of that down to one control question. How do I become more visible and valuable in my industry? So that's her control question. So when I'm writing the book, I'm always starting with Tracy is asking me, how do I become more visible and valuable in my industry? For the book oversubscribed, it was the control question was, how do I get people lining up to do business with me? How do I run successful campaigns that get people lining up to do business with me? For Entrepreneur Revolution, how do I make the most of these times that we're in? How is the world changing and how do I make the most of that? So there's this central question that the book aims to answer. So you've got a central reader with a central question. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, great. So now we know the reader, we need to know 3 things about the reader. So the 3 things that we need to know is we need to know what is their present situation that they're not happy with, what is their desired situation that they wish for, and what's been stopping them from getting what they want. Those are the 3 big things that we need to know when it comes to our reader. So here's the thing. Your perfect customer is stuck in a quandary, a current quandary that they have. A quandary is where there's multiple things that is making their life difficult. So let's imagine that your business is a fitness business and your business works with dads who are professionals and they want to lose some weight and get energy and all of that sort of stuff. And if you talk to them and say, why, what's not working for how you currently, they might say, my diet's really difficult because we've always got lots of food around the house and lots of snacks and all that sort of stuff. My sleep always gets disrupted. And when I get disrupted sleep, I don't feel like working out. And I never have enough time to just get to the gym. I've only got limited amounts of time. So they're going to tell you the quandary that they're in. So you need to understand what's the quandary. Right? It's not one thing, because if it was the one thing, they would have solved it themselves. If it was easy, they would have solved it. It's hard. They think of it as very hard. They think of it as a quandary. It's not one thing, it's 3 things at least. Right? So then you ask them the opposite question. In the future, what do you wish would happen? Like if in a year from now, where do you wish you were? If in 3 years from now, what would you love to be celebrating? If I could wave a magic wand, what would you like to see? And they're going to say, oh, I'd love to have lots of energy. I'd love to be losing. I'd love to have lost weight and feel really good about the way I look. I'd love to wear really great, cool clothes that fit me really well, right? They're going to tell you all the stuff that they wish they could achieve. You need to be inside their head thinking about what's their quandary and what is their desired outcome? What do they wish would happen in the future? The third thing that you need to know is what's in their way. What mistakes have they been making? What problems have they faced, right? They're going to have 5 to 10 things that are in their way. They're going to have things like bad ideas that they, they're going to have things like bad ideas that they think that aren't, the right things to think. They're going to have things like poor choices, mistakes that they've been making, all of that sort of stuff. So essentially, that's what it's all going to start. So the first thing, before you start writing, you do some research, the present situation, the prize that they imagine, and the problems that sit in the middle. Who's the perfect reader? What's their control question? You get clear on all of that sort of stuff. Once you're clear on that, then we say, all right, time to write the book. So here's what we do. We start with an introduction. The introduction is going to sell the reader on reading the book. So the purpose of the introduction is to sell people on reading the book. That's its job. If ever you've done academic, let me get a quick wave. Who's completed university, or you've done a master's or a PhD or something like that? Okay. Forget how you would do this in an academic setting. Forget all of that. Your job with a book is to sell the reader to finish the book. It's not to, in this discussion, we will explore the terrain of thought when it comes to the Brazilian spider, right? We're gonna go full guns blazing. We're gonna hit them over the head with a pan, saying, read this book. This book is going to change your life. Read all the way to the end. You literally want to put the words in there saying, if you read to the end, here's what you're going to get. Right? So we're not going to be academic about it. We're going to be full guns blazing. I want you to read the book. Let me give you an example from my book. Here it comes. Introduction. At the center of every industry, you'll find an inner circle of people who are the most well-known and highly valued people. They are the key people of influence. You probably already know of these people in your industry. Their names come up in conversation for all the right reasons. They attract a lot of opportunities that are perfect for them. They earn more money than most, and it's not a struggle. They can make a project successful if they're involved in it, and everyone knows it. Key people of influence enjoy a special status in their chosen field because they are well-connected, well-known, well-regarded, and highly valued. They get invited to be part of the best teams and projects, and they can often write their own terms, right? Key people of influence have more fun. They get invited on trips away. People buy them dinner and drinks and give them VIP treatment. They're treated with respect, and others listen when they speak. Like guns are blazing here. Read the book, read the book, read the book, right? It's telling you, if you read this book, you're going to be one of the cool kids. So I'm going full guns blazing. So I want the introduction to sell the reader on why they should read the book. Let's have a look at scorecard marketing. Scorecard marketing. Introduction. Every business is downstream from lead generation. If you can't capture people's attention and generate a signal of interest, then it doesn't matter how great your offer is. If the leads dry up, the sales stop flowing, best people leave, then the revenues start dropping and the investors want out. Growth stops, the fun stops, the business comes crashing down. Lead generation is the first step to getting more customers, investors, partnerships, and talented team players, right? So I'm just hitting you with it. I know your time is valuable. I'm going to hit you with all guns blazing. Read this book, and here's what you get for it, right? So that's our first part. Sell the reader on reading the book. Now, as soon as you've done that with the introduction, you're going to do something quite strange. You're going to disrupt the reader. You're going to disrupt them. You're going to make them feel like the world is not the way that they thought it was. Right? You're going to make people feel like that you've just challenged their existing mindset. You've challenged them in some way. You've disrupted their current thinking. Let me show you what I mean. Let's have a look at key person of influence here. Key person of influence starts with, the world has changed and so must you. We're living in a very different world today than we were just a decade ago. We're at the beginning of a whole new era. We're no longer in the industrial age. We're in a new economy that's digital, global, intangible, and meaningful, and very entrepreneurial. Everything has changed and so must you. You've got to stop looking good, going nowhere. All right, bang, I'm disrupting you. Your best thinking from 5 years ago is your baggage today. Punch in the nose. Vitality is more valuable than your functionality. Push, take that. Your career is over. Bosh. Disrupt. The harder you work, the less you earn. Push, push, push. Right? Disruptive, disruptive, disruptive. So I'm disrupting you. As soon as you read this book, it's making you go, whoa, the world's a little bit off kilter today. This guy's just disrupted my thinking. So the first thing we need is 5 to 10 ideas that disrupt people's current thinking, right? Why should people rethink their mindset towards whatever it is that you do? Give me a thumbs up if you get the power of that. Yes, very nice. Okay, so you've disrupted them. Very quickly after disrupting people, you want to give them some new insights. 5 to 10 ideas that you think they should know. These are the good ideas. So the disruption, your best thinking 5 years ago is baggage, careers are old technology, harder you work, less you earn. Insights, you're already standing on a mountain of value, but you can't see it. You must claim your digital land. The singer is more valuable than the microphone, right? So I'm giving you some insights in here. So we've got 5 to 10 disruptors, then we've got 5 to 10 big picture insights. Now with all of these, once we've got a disruptor or an insight, we're going to write something like 1,000 words about each one. So there's going to be about 3,000 to 5,000 words of disruption, 3,000 to 5,000 words, 5,000 to 7,000 words of insights to open the book up. So we've now got a 1,500 word introduction. We've got, call it 5,000 words of disruption, 5,000 words of insights. Now we've got some momentum in the book. Now, once people have these insights, now they're sitting there going, whoa, you challenged my thinking. You gave me a new way of thinking. Now, give me step by step. I want to know the method. I want to know, how do I change things? I want the method. So this is where we zoom in and we say, okay, it's time for us to introduce you to a methodology. So in the Key Person of Influence book, the methodology is called the 5 Ps. In the 24 Assets book, the methodology is 24 Assets. In the oversubscribed book, the methodology is the campaign-driven enterprise model. In Scorecard Marketing, the methodology is the blueprint for setting up a scorecard marketing campaign. So in the middle of the book, we now have a method. 5 steps, 10 principles, the 7 stages, the approach. Here's what you need to be doing step by step by step by step. So you've now got the method. Now the method is probably going to be about 10,000 words. That's going to be a big chunk of the book. It's the middle of the book. The whole middle of the book is the method. So the method for creating change. Okay, once we get to the method, as soon as people see the method, they're going to hate it. They're going to go, oh, there's things to do. And they're going to go, I've got all these objections. What if I don't want to be famous? What if I don't feel ready? Should I do an MBA or a PhD instead? How would I find the time to do this? What if I want to sell my business instead? What is a realistic time frame for doing this? How much time and money is it going to take? Right? So the big objections that people are going to have is time, money, creativity, belief in self, belief in others, return on investment. Those are the big ones. So I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough creativity to do this. I don't believe in myself. I don't believe in others, or I don't think this is worth it. I can see this would work, but I don't think it's worth it anymore. Too hard. So these are the objections. Your job is to handle the objections. So after someone sees the method, you're going to say, here's a chapter about what I would say to anyone who thinks that it's not worth paying the money for it. Here's what I would say for anyone who thinks that it's too time consuming. Here's what I would say for anyone who thinks they don't have the creativity to do this. Here's what I would say to anyone who thinks the return on investment won't be there, right? So it's basically you handling the objections. Let's say there's 5 big objections and it's 1,000 words per objection. So now you've got another 5,000 words in the book. Who's following me? Yes, great. Okay, so we handle the objections. Let me quickly show you in the book, in Scorecard Marketing, I literally say this. How funny is this chapter? There's a chapter called Don't Let Anything Stand in Your Way. At Score App, we get notifications whenever someone cancels their subscription or chooses not to go beyond their free trial period, why they chose to leave. 50% of people who leave say that they didn't have enough time to set it up. Well, automation does require an initial investment of time and creativity, but it rapidly pays you back. A few hours spent setting up a scorecard on Score App sets you up for every sale, blah, blah, blah. It literally says here, don't be the busy fool who doesn't have enough time to grab a bicycle because you're too busy running around on foot, right? So it hits you in the nose with a big objection handler there. Then it says, 11% of people say they couldn't come up with a questionnaire or category. 2% of people said they got set up, but they didn't get enough leads. 9% of people said they left because the functionality they wanted was missing. 3% of people said that they got leads but couldn't convert them, right? So I go through and actually say, these are your big objections. Let's handle those objections. In the Key Person of Influence book, there is a chapter called Don't Work for the Clearing. There is no clearing. It never comes. You will become an elderly person in a nursing home before you realize that you should have just gone for what you wanted, right? It says, if you were good at creating a clearing in your life, you would have had one by now. When was the last time you actually arrived at the perfect time and the perfect place and the perfect time with all the money? It's a fairy tale. You just need to go for it, right? So I come in strong with handling objections in these books. Now, I don't want to finish on that. I want to go from handling objections to, once we've handled objections, I want to go to call to action. So we've handled objections, sell the reader on the next step. I want my readers to go into a scorecard or take a workshop, right? So I always say to people, connect with our community, attend one of my workshops, fill in the scorecard, and I give people the links to do a scorecard or to attend a workshop. So I always say book to scorecard, book to workshop. Either way is fine. Workshops tend to recommend books and scorecards. Scorecards tend to recommend books and workshops. So I tend to have this little triangle where each thing recommends the other two things. I give people a nice story about call to action. With that said, that's not the end of the book. The end of the book should always be a 30,000-foot inspirational high point. It should be a big picture of this is what life is going to be like once you actually implement this. So it's going to actually leave people on a big kind of like wow moment. So while everyone is furiously creating content for Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, you can make the shift towards collecting and using data to deliver personalization. You can leapfrog out of the saturated social media landscape and into the flourishing data analytics world. Small business needs to adapt fast to this way of marketing. Being personalized to people's needs was once the domain of boutiques, blah, 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 blah. The more data you collect, the less you'll need to spend on sales and marketing. The more data you make, the easier it is to make sales and charge what you're worth. So it finishes up with, this is what life is going to be like on the other side. It's the inspirational big picture, the inspirational end point of the book. So the final part of the book is called the big finish. The big finish, leave the reader feeling uplifted, leave the reader on a high point, and that's the book. If you pull all that together, you're going to have something between 20 and 40,000 words. This book here is a 20,000 word book. This book here is more like 38,000 words, right? So you can see Key Person of Influence looks like a bigger book. And Scorecard Marketing is a nice one. The beauty of this one being a 20,000 word book Very, very cost effective to put it in the mail. It doesn't intimidate people. It makes them feel like, oh, I could read this in one sitting. It's very easy to read. And it's very, from a business perspective, it's half the price to send. So when we mail these, it's very cost effective to stick these through the post because they are half the size. All right. So from a mailing perspective, do not be afraid to put a 20,000 word book out. If you've done a good job and it's only 20,000 words, it's still going to look good. It's going to look like a good little book. However, if you want a book that looks like a proper book, you're going to need to shoot for about 35,000, 40,000 words. All right. So if you want something that actually has a bit of a thud factor when you drop it on the desk, you're going to need to have, call it 35, 40,000 words, right? Okay. Now, let's talk now about using AI, because AI is this incredible tool that can help you to double your output. You can write the book twice as fast as you ever thought possible. This is going to collapse the time down from months into weeks. So Jonathan, who is the architect of bookmagic.ai, he's our CTO and has designed the product with the help of myself and Lucy. He's going to give you a walkthrough as to how this software works and how it's going to double your output. Okay, over to you, Jonathan.
Thanks so much, Daniel. I think amazing insights as always. I'm going to share my screen and let's go through. So I want to give you a bit of a demo so you can jump straight in and really be proactive on the platform. When you first join, this is the screen you'll get, which is an opportunity to write a working title or subtitle, put your target word count in, and answer a couple of questions optionally of why you're writing your book. So it might be to attract more clients, raise your profile, increase your fees. Once you click create book, it's going to land you into the program of work. And the idea here is that all those sections that Dan's just taken you through, we capture all that information so that we can feed it into the AI model to really give you great responses from AI. So it starts very simply, just choose your coach. I'm going to choose Lucy. And then once you've chosen your coach, you can jump into an exercise on values. Now it's completely optional, but this really does give you a bit of a real deep insight into why you are writing your book from a personal perspective, but also about your business. So once you've completed your value section, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop over here on the top left, there's a dashboard icon. This gives you a really good high-level view, a macro view of all of the parts that are required to get a book written, positioned, planned, written, promoted, and published. So you can do all of this through bookmagic.ai. The bit that we've been talking a lot about in this session is mainly the positioning work. So if you look at the sections in here, so yes, choose an AI coach, yes, optionally do the values exercise, but then the really important squeeze that you'll get out of this is the ideal client work and your business. So if I drop into that, you can see effectively it's a few sections to fill in, not much. Just answer the questions about who is your ideal client, what's their main pain, and effectively completing this Venn diagram here. And once you've done that for your client, you do the same work for your business. You'll get some AI psychographics. You can generate an AI avatar. You can do all sorts of like really fun, great stuff in there. But the key thing is, I'll just drop back to the dashboard, that you'll get a great idea of who your ideal client is and also exactly what your business is in terms of what your ideal client will get from your book. So by answering these questions, you'll get to the end here, which gives you an opportunity to come up with a model. So you may already have a model, in which case, great, just put in your steps. But actually, you can also generate that with AI. So you can do a quick description of how you work with your ideal clients, and then it will actually come up with a model, but with an acronym as well. So you'll have a framework built, which then makes up that really core bit of the book that you're going to talk about. So if you imagine then you've done your ideal client positioning, you've done your business positioning, the next step is to actually write your introduction. And at this point, it's really just a draft. And what we've done is we've split it into 5 sections to really break it down and make it super easy to do. So each section tells you exactly what you should write. You also get some bullet points which have been brought out of whatever insights you've given to the platform on who your ideal client is, what your business is, what their problems are, etc. So all of that will then be pulled together once you've completed these sections into a first draft of your introduction. You can then add that to your book, and then what you'll see is the second icon down here is your book. You can access that at any time, and that introduction will then appear on your book. In the editor itself, you've got a whole host of AI tools to use at your disposal. So first of all, because you've given so much information about exactly who that person is that you're writing for, you can ask them a direct question. So you can ask them a specific question, or you can say, hey, what would you like to read about in this particular topic? What's missing from this topic? You can ask it to outline the topic, simplify it, summarize it, and also you can select a section of text. Sorry, select a section of text, try again, and then you can form an anecdote from that, an analogy, case study, online examples, online research, even reader activities. So there's so much you can get from the perspective of suggested AI prompts. And it really can be as simple as, get a structure for a topic, click the dictation button, start talking about it, and then summarize it. And that's your topic done. On to the next one. When you're going through the process, so everything in here is actually free. You can do the entire positioning and including your introduction on the free plan. Once you think, yes, actually, I can see where this is going, this is great, then you can move over into planning your book. And planning your book is really about gathering 30 to 40 blog style heading topics. Again, you can get suggestions from AI. If you're staring at that blank page and thinking, God, what on earth am I going to write about? You can get lots of suggestions there. And of course, you can add your own. So we add those topics to your book. Again, if I click that the second icon down, I can see my book is starting to populate. But if I go back into topics, you can see you initially do your topics, and that's what makes up the meat of the book, but then also case studies, which give confidence for the reader because they can relate to those stories. Facts, which give you authority and references and statistics and such. That's the data section. And then finally, when you get into plan your chapters. So you can actually use AI to give you a bit of a helping hand here. You may have come up and brainstormed a whole load of topics, but you're like, I don't know how I'm going to structure that. You can click organize with AI and it will come up with a structure, an initial structure, which you can either accept or reject, or you can drag the topics around, change the titles, etc. So it's very flexible and gives you quite a quick way to get to a book plan. Once you've got a book plan, you're into the writing stage. The writing stage is broken up into these 5 sections. So initially, you're just writing your first draft. Now, when you're writing your first draft, it is just a case of click one of the topics, use AI to outline or drop in your notes that you've got yourself, start either dictating or writing about that topic, and then you'll see your word count starting to go up at the top. And once you've got that, you can literally see this populate, and you'll see how far you are on each section. So as a chapter fills, you can see what percentage of that chapter is done. You've got an overview essentially as you're filling each of these up, which can be very quick. So you can also compile that book. So at any point you can see the entire book with all of the chapters and sections as text. You can download it as a rich text format, so as a Word document, and you can move things around, delete things, etc. So there's a whole load of tooling on that. But essentially up here, what you'll see is that you're going to progress through this process, the writer process. Write is about just doing a brain dump into each of these sections, as I described. Review, you come for a second pass, you click on each topic, you add comments, and that's actually automatically open when you're in the review stage. Just write a whole bunch of comments, don't worry about editing. Then when you come to improve, go through for a third pass, make the improvements. You'll also get AI coach suggestions. And then once you've done that, you're actually at your second draft. And that is gives you something which you can start sharing with beta readers, which you can invite directly into the platform via the collaborators here. So you can just click, give a name, send an email, and they'll get an invitation, and then they'll appear here. You'll also see once they've accepted that invitation and once they've started making comments, it will show. So that takes you all the way through to a final manuscript. You make your amends based on your feedback, and you could actually then go ahead and publish. So once you've got that final manuscript, you can either reach out directly to our sister company, Rethink Press, and you can just literally arrange a consultation with them just by clicking on there. But you can also start promoting your book. So there's a wait list where you can add in your book synopsis, your bio, etc., and then actually start receiving some subscribers before you've even written your book. Once you've got a clear idea of what it's going to be about, we recommend just getting a wait list up there and starting to share that. These people may also become your beta readers, so it's really, really helpful to have that list grow. They also will convert and become clients potentially, so it's a really powerful way. Before you've even got the book out, you can start to get some people through the funnel. We've also got front cover design coming, lead generation, and book marketing on the way. And there's a lot more assets there. So at the moment, you can see there's some social posts down here which we're generating. They come every time you land on the platform. So you can copy and paste those into social media. But we've also got ebooks and blog posts and all sorts of marketing material coming in the next month. So watch this space. You can set up scheduling. So if you wanted to receive a notification every day, you can decide the days that you would like to write on, say how many hours you can manage, and it will give you an approximation. Now that's writing 1,000 words a day. What we're seeing, which really shocked us, is that people are doing it 2-3 times as quick as that. So it really is remarkable how fast people are getting through the books. That gives you a really high level and quick overview, and I realize I've probably got over a bit of time, but hopefully that gives you enough to get straight in and started with Book Magic.
It's so cool. It's so cool. It's a completely different approach to writing because it's structured. The AI is your partner. It's walking you through a process. It's not leaving you with blank page syndrome, right? This versus just a word processor, it's not even in the same ballpark, right? This is an actual, it's like a gamification of writing your book. It's basically taking you through a process that it's kind of like as if by magic, taking you through a process. Okay. So bookmagic.ai, I really want to be careful here. The AI is there to structure your thinking. It's there to enhance your creativity. It's there to accelerate your output. If you were Malcolm Gladwell and you signed yourself up as you got signed to a major publisher for your next book, they're going to assign you editors, marketing assistants, creative editors. They're going to assign you a team of 3 or 4 people to make sure that that book is a huge success. You're probably going to have a research assistant. When we created Book Magic, we said, wouldn't it be amazing if we could create a piece of software that made you feel like Malcolm Gladwell, that made you feel like an author who is fully supported by a massive publishing powerhouse around you, where you have the creativity and the structure and all of those things happening, and you've got marketing support for the book. So the goal of this is that it makes it that simple. So just to recap, right? Structuring your thinking, enhancing your creativity, accelerating your output, but not writing the book for you. That's crucial. In the future, they're not going to let AI written books onto Amazon. They're going to detect whether it's got AI in it. They're going to say that's not what Amazon's for. So you need to make sure that you're writing the book with AI supporting you as a support tool. What we absolutely do not want is what we call broken bridge syndrome or unfinished bridge syndrome. Some of you have already written 20,000 words of a book but never published it. That is an unfinished bridge. The problem with an unfinished bridge is that you can spend all your time, energy, effort, money on all of these bits, but if you leave just one section out of the whole process, you don't have a bridge. There's no bridge done. So the goal is with the book, you've got to get it all the way to completion. So this tool is here to get you all the way to the very end of publishing. Once you're finished with Book Magic, you go straight through to Rethink Press, and Rethink Press can help you do a professional publishing job of the book as well. So it's just this end-to-end process that's going to be the most seamless thing to position you as that key person of influence. And Rethink Press know how to support you to get 1,000 copies a year into people's hands to do that campaign to give them away. Super simple. You can start with a free account, orientate yourself to the platform. When you're ready, you can do the essential plan. The essential plan is currently $39 a month. At a later date, we're going to be increasing that to $99 a month, $59 a month for the professional plan. At a later date, that'll be $119, right? So those are the two plans that you'll be able to choose, but you'll be starting out for free. So just orientate yourself on the platform for free and then choose the plan once you're ready to start writing. You've got Book Magic, you've got Rethink Press, all there to help support you. We called this platform Book Magic because over the last 10 years, working with 1,000 authors, we actually kept hearing the same story over and over again. So there's this same story that we hear all the time, which is essentially something magic happened off the back of my book. And we just started calling this Book Magic. So when you put a book out, Book Magic starts to happen. So here's examples of what Book Magic sounds like. Oh my goodness, I've just been invited to speak at a conference alongside one of my heroes, right? That's a Book Magic moment. Or, oh my goodness, someone wrote me a full-page letter telling me how reading their book transformed their life. Oh my goodness, one of my heroes just started following me on social media because they noticed something that's been going on with my book. So some of these things are just absolute magic moments. I'll tell you, I've got two of those magic moments. Richard Branson follows me on Twitter, right? And Ryan Reynolds follows me on Twitter. Ryan Reynolds, right? The guy only follows like 1,600 people and randomly follows my rants on Twitter. Little Book Magic moments. But I'll tell you the best Book Magic moment ever. The best Book Magic moment ever was when I was in Boston and I was speaking at a conference, and the conference organizer said, hey, if you're in Boston, why don't you come along to Harvard and see what Harvard's like? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm a university dropout. I would love to. This is the closest I'm going to get. So he takes me to Harvard. We go to Starbucks. We get one of the big Starbucks coffees. And then he says, this is the Harvard bookshop where all the kids buy the books. Oh, cool. Let's go and have a look. So we walk into the Harvard bookstore, and it's a huge, beautiful bookstore. And he says, oh, by the way, this up the back there, that's the entrepreneurship section. I said, that's my favorite section, right? So I walk up and I go, let's go and have a look. He says, Dan, have a look at that shelf right there. I look and I go, what? What am I looking at? He says, Entrepreneur Revolution. And I'm like, what? Right? So there's my book alongside some of my entrepreneurial heroes. And I'm sitting there going, damn, I dropped out of university and now my book is for sale in the Harvard bookstore. So that's one of my Book Magic moments, right? It's one of those moments I'll never forget. It's super amazing to go in there and see the students of entrepreneurship and business and MBA at Harvard, you know, buying my book at the bookstores. So that was just super, super cool. So keep in mind, one of the things that we want to see from you, we know all the predictable stuff that's going to happen. You're going to put your prices up. You're going to get more customers. You're going to speak on stages. You're going to be on more podcasts. You know, all of that stuff. You'll probably create better products. All of that's definitely going to happen. But there's going to be something completely unpredictable outside of your expectations. And we call that stuff Book Magic, right? So that's the Book Magic that we want. That's the real Book Magic that we're shooting for. Okay, here's what we'll do. Let's take 3 or 4 questions. If you want to unmute, if you need to drop off, you can drop off. Go get started. Click on the link. Oh, let me give you a special offer. Use the code Daniel when you sign up, and we will send you the PDF of Key Person of Influence so you can kind of follow the format that I've been talking about today. We'll send you the PDF of Book Builder, which is Joe Gregory and Lucy Makara's book about book writing and publishing. We'll send you this book called Win, which is Donna O'Toole's book on how to raise your profile and grow your business by winning awards, right? Which is a great one. and we'll send you scorecard marketing as a PDF so that you can set that up and have a scorecard marketing campaign. So we'll send you through those 4 books on PDF. And we'll also give you 20% off month 1 when you do upgrade and pay. So use the code Daniel, and if we see that you've signed up today, like while this workshop's been on, we'll just upgrade you manually to that special offer. We'll send you through those books, and we'll get you the 20% off month 1. And that special offer is available today, right? So we're going to be doing that just today. So create that free account today so that you can activate that. David, have you mimicked my background?
No, I'm just sitting right next to you, mate.
Oh, wow. What a coinky dink.
My question for you is, in reading your book, I noticed that you have a couple of moments where you embed a secret learning that you invite the reader to find. And tell me a little bit about the thinking that, and is that something you recommend we do as well?
Look, there's 2 reasons I do that. I want to engage the reader at a deeper level. I actually want people to read the book all the way to the end. I want them to stop and reflect and think. So it's one of those things that kind of gets people thinking, gets people engaging, and gets people reflecting. And then the second reason I do it is I actually believe that what I'm trying to point to in all the books is that the reader has to get involved. So the secret theme of Key Person of Influence is the theme of their story. It's their origin story. So by understanding the theme of their life, by understanding the origin story of their life, it will set them up to have more value as a key person of influence. So throughout the book, I'm pointing towards that message, and I'm wanting them to think it through and engage with that idea that there's something of value that they've got that they need to go looking for. So I want people to be reading as active participants, not reading as passive observers. So that's why I do it. With that said, some people freaking hate it. So I've had people go, I love Daniel Priestley's books, except I hate the gimmicky thing that he does where he tells you there's something secret in the book. So some people, like, they vomit in their mouth when they read that, and then they come back and tell people that they don't like that one part about the book. So you've got to be able to be willing to have some people love it, some people hate it. But I personally like to engage people that way.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Did you love it or hate it?
Candidly, I loved it. It actually gave me a reason to go back and feel like I have pinpointed things about the books because of that have made me even write it down. So I actually appreciate it. It's a very different tactic, which is what stood out about it for me. And I feel like I actually got some value out of it. So
cool. Nice. Okay. Any other questions? All righty. Looks like we oh yeah, we got one from Daniel. Come off mute, Daniel.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm one of those people who have, hello, by the way, love all your stuff. Just joined the Key Person of Influence piece last week, so I'm looking forward to getting on with that. I'm the person who's done 20,000 words of something and got it into something that looks like a book and started sharing it out for a little bit of feedback. Is this going to help me in any way? Enhance that 20,000 words?
Are you at the end of the process genuinely? Like, is 20,000 words pretty much it?
It was my full-on dump kind. What you just laid out there as the plan. It is. I can see there's elements of that I need to go back and revisit it. It doesn't lead as well as that.
Yeah. Look, if you're mostly done, you probably don't need to go through the whole process. But talk to Joe Gregory at Rethink Press and just. Like Joe will give you straight talk about whether he thinks it's ready or whether he thinks you need some more work on it. So I would engage with Joe at Rethink Press. I like the fact that you've already got a waiting list. I like the fact that you're already engaging with readers. So you're doing all the right things. I'd say now's the time to start having a chat with someone like Joe.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Becky.
Hi there. Yeah, my question was around the AI side of it and whether or not, if it's helping to support us writing our book, which is absolutely fantastic. Does does it then learn from our book to help other people, or is the content sort of ring fence? Is it separate? Is it a learning thing? How does that work with our own IP and such like?
The quick answer is no. It basically, it's not learning from, that's not how AI algorithms are trained. It's essentially, it's looking at the content you've got, and then it's applying what's called a large language model to then reflect back what might be missing, what your reader might be thinking. So we're applying a set of what's called prompts. Those prompts go off to OpenAI. OpenAI then feeds back information to our platform, and we present that to you. But the way that a large language model is created, which is called a training process, it's an actual process that they put the algorithm through before releasing the product, and they put that out there. Now, the truth is that the team at OpenAI are pretty much known for just getting their hands on all sorts of data up until this point. The other thing too is that the latest training of AI algorithms, you're talking about trillions and trillions of words and content and data to do it. But a lot of the time now they're actually training AI models on AI generated content as well. So they don't even need data.
There's a slight distinction as well. So when you go onto ChatGPT and type stuff in, you can use that. When it's sent via API, then it's private. So none of it is sent to their training models. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. On your ChatGPT, your conversations are mapped to you.
Yes.
So I've been talking to ChatGPT by voice, and the other day it asked me how my son is and used his name. And I asked it, how did you know my son's name? It said from a previous conversation.
Okay. Wow. Yes. That's what I don't like about these things. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for the explanation. Thank you.
Julie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I just have two questions about publishing. So let's say, like I'm abroad, I'm not in the UK, and I make a book with Magic AI, Book Magic AI, and then Rethink publishes it. So if I wanted them to be where I am in Kenya, I would just organize for it to be shipped with DHL. Is that how it would work? And if, let's say, someone in the UK wants to buy my book and Rethink is in the UK, I'm not too sure where it is physically, can they come to Rethink, and do you guys stock books?
So the best way for someone to buy your book is on Amazon Print on Demand, where they actually print the book when someone buys it. So that way Amazon just prints it. As soon as someone goes to Amazon, they buy it, Amazon prints it and sends it, right? If you want to give away 1,000 copies in Kenya, ask Rethink Press. They will either find a printer in Kenya and print them locally to avoid the shipping costs, or if there's not a suitable printing option, they will find a closer one and ship it there. But Rethink Press will be your partner in creating all of that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries. Torniki.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you again for such a wonderful workshop.
Pleasure.
And it's a funny feeling that now that I know this do this, I don't want anyone else to know about it. It's so cool and amazing. You mentioned that you should focus on and you should aim at giving away these books. But you also mentioned that there is a book that still makes you money. At what point you can be charging people to buy your book? Because we still buy the books, right? So like how do you?
Yeah, look, I give away a lot of books. The great irony is that the more books I give away, the more I sell. But honestly, I don't really care about the book royalties. When I say a book makes me money, I'm not talking about book royalties. I'm talking about like business that comes in. So like, you know, I know business coaches who give away 1,000 books a year, and it costs them £5,000-6,000, and then they generate £400,000 worth of coaching. So the book costs them 6,000 but makes them 400,000. So what I'm talking about here is that the book makes you money through what it does, as opposed to the royalties. Now, look, the truth is I get royalties. I get I get better royalties than most. I probably, I don't know, maybe get 50 to 100 grand a year worth of royalties, but that's not like, honestly, that's just, you know, it's champagne money, isn't it? It's great. It's like, woohoo, we can throw parties with that, but it's not like relative to the businesses. Like, you know, I run a group of businesses that are doing tens of millions. So it's not a big deal to have 100 grand worth of 50 or 100 grand worth of royalties come in. So, and it's also not relevant because I've given away so many copies. It just really offsets the money that I've spent on giveaway copies. So don't think about royalty money. Royalty money is ridiculous. Royalty money, just use royalty money to buy more copies to give away.
Okay, just quick follow-up question then. So if you leave your book for free, wouldn't it create a perception in users' mind that this is kind of like a cheap or easy to get something?
No, what I've discovered is it creates the perception that you're incredibly generous, right? That you are, that you turn up, you give a talk, that you're generous with your, like, people are just so stoked when you give them a copy of the book. The truth is that it's the way that you give it as well. You know, I bought you a copy of my book. I want to send you a copy of my book because I've noticed what you're up to. I would have loved the opportunity to meet you face to face, but we haven't been able to meet face to face. Would I be able to send you a copy of my book? It's actually comes across as a very generous gift. So you obviously do it in a way that's generous. One of the best things you'll ever do is speak at a conference and everyone gets a book. I'm about to speak in Atlanta to 2,500 people. I've printed 2,500 copies of the book, and I'm going to turn up and I'm going to, basically, they're all going to have a book on their seat. When I take the stage, I say, I bought every single one of you a copy of my book, and they're all going to go, wow, right? They'll all lose their shit. So they're going to think I'm a really nice person for giving everyone a copy of the book.
Do you have similar plans for the UK? Any workshops or anything?
What's that?
In the UK, do you plan to have similar event?
Yeah, I'll speak at several events this year. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, Entrepreneurs Circle has got me booked, and I don't know. I just spoke at Atomicon. Just keep an eye on my Twitter and that sort of stuff. Isabella, I think we'll have to do that as the last question. Isabella, where's Isabella?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I did not know myself.
Go
Started talking. So I try to be quick. I just look at the packages and I'm just trying to work out logistic how it works. So for example, you know, I follow through, I publish the book through your channels. And so at which point do I stop making those monthly contributions, or I can continue and write another book? How does that work with... is it like a minimal commitment to how many months I need to be part of the platform so I can benefit and publish the book?
So the way I want to have it, I want to set it up so that it's that you, once you start subscribing, it's for the rest of your life and then your children's children's children. But unfortunately, they wouldn't allow that. So you can cancel at any time. So you can either keep writing another book or you can cancel. But as soon as I can figure out how to make it contractually obligated for multi-generational, I'll be doing a multi-generational plan.
Another question, food for thought, maybe for the future, for those people who were part of your, let's say, published the book with the Magic Book AI and etc. And if they stop and they decide to later come back, would you have then any extra special offers for them as the people who are already?
It'll actually, look, the truth is at the moment we're doing beta pricing while we're just getting going. We're in our first 1,000 clients at the moment. The truth is that as soon as we're ready, we'll just put the prices up to the full pricing.
Right.
So this is just this is us doing our early testing.
Okay.
When you're on a plan, we won't change the plan. The plan will stay the same. But at a later date, we will change the pricing. The pricing will go up.
Can you upgrade on the plan later? And it will still...
you can upgrade. Yep.
Okay, but this will be on the new prices upgrade, or
it'll be on whatever the price is at the time. So you'll always get it, because if you use that code, you'll get 20% off month one.
Okay.
But it'll be whatever the upgrade is at the time.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you so much.
No worries. Okay, let's finish up. I want to just leave you with one mischievous little challenge. If you start today, you'll be done by Christmas. You'll have your book out by Christmas, right? I want to just leave you with the challenge. What if you could get this done by Christmas? What if you could get your book out and that you could put your book under someone's tree for Christmas, right? Have that as a little bit of a challenge, right? If you get started straight away, you're going to have a book out this year. It's not going to be hard. You're going to get it all done in a few weeks. You're going to then talk to Rethink, get it published. Come Christmas, you're going to be an author. Wouldn't it be cool to start 2025 as an author? And a new, literally a new chapter in your life. Okay. Thank you very much. Go be brave. Go have fun. Go make a big dent in the universe. I will see you soon. All the best.